in as far as explanation of organic qualitative analysis is concerned. Now, this is just an explanation of what we have just carried out in the practical that we have done for testing of various ions in various solutions. Now, in this case, we have used zinc sulfate, lead nitrate, and aluminium 3 nitrate, magnesium nitrate, calcium nitrate, and copper sulfate, ion 2 sulfate, and then the ion 3 sulfate. So in this case, we have used sodium hydroxide. When sodium hydroxide, a few drops of sodium hydroxide were introduced into the test tube that is containing zinc sulfate solution. These were the expected results that we found. We found zinc hydroxide, which is solid, and sodium sulfate, that is aqueous. So this one is aqueous, solid, aqueous, aqueous. When you write ionically, you write Z2 2 plus 2, because zinc has got what? A valency of 2. And then hydroxide, the one that is participating in the reaction, combined to form zinc hydroxide. Zinc hydroxide is the one that is white precipitate. Then we went to number 2. When sodium hydroxide was introduced here, then we found lead hydroxide plus sodium nitrate. So it is the lead nitrate is the one that is forming the white precipitate in the test tube. The white precipitate, like this one, in fact, it is they are still here. They have not been drained. They have not been drained. So this is the lead nitrate. So this is the white precipitate that I'm talking about. Then we went further and also did for the one for aluminium 3, aluminium nitrate. Aluminium nitrate plus hydroxyl ion in the sodium hydroxide. Remember, this one is the hydroxyl ion in the sodium hydroxide. It combined to form aluminium hydroxide, which is the white precipitate. It is the white precipitate that we found. It's the one that is being indicated in the test tube. Then we also find out the magnesium ions, and when magnesium ion was introduced, when a few drops of sodium hydroxide was introduced into magnesium solution, magnesium sulfate solution, we found out these are the products that were formed: magnesium hydroxide, which is the white precipitate, and this is the white precipitate I'm still talking about. A few drops. Remember, these were just a few drops. So we found it is white precipitate. Then calcium. Calcium, when you combine with a few drops of sodium hydroxide in the test tubes, you get calcium hydroxide, which is also the white precipitate. So this is the white precipitate that I'm talking about. The white precipitate, it's here. This is the white precipitate. This is the test tube that we did that practical of calcium. Then iron 2, copper sulfate solution plus sodium hydroxide, we find that it's copper hydroxide, which is pale blue. Then iron 2, it is the one that few drops were introduced into the test tubes, and then we found it is iron hydroxide, which is pale green, as you can see here. This is the pale green for identification of iron 2. Then we also have iron 3. When the few drops were introduced of sodium hydroxide into the test tube that was containing iron 3, we found the brown precipitate, as you can see here. This is the brown precipitate that we are talking about. This is the test tube that was containing iron 3. So this is the identification of what? Iron 3, the brown precipitate, as you can see. For those few remarks, we have marked the end of our explanation in as far as inorganic qualitative analysis is concerned with sodium hydroxide. Otherwise, remember to share, subscribe, and also to like. Give also some comments. Otherwise, thank you in advance. See you next time in the next virtual practical class. Thank you for listening to me.